Hello, everyone. I am just getting situated. I just wanted to hop on here. It's been a couple weeks, but I'm excited to be back. Well, hopefully you can hear me. All right. So today is all about how to make your home look more expensive on a dime. This is actually one of my favorite topics because as a DIY home blogger, this is something I've always strived for. So I'm going to scoot up a little bit. So take a moment, grab some wine if you want. I have a little rosé happening here, and we're going to get into it here in just a moment. It looks like I have someone on live with me, so that's exciting. So yeah, we're going to get into it today. First of all, cheers. I am so far really enjoying doing these lives. I feel like it's pretty fun to connect with you all and as a way to kind of meet with you in real time so that I can be, you know, continuing to touch base. Because I feel like sometimes I go through periods of time where I'm not able to upload videos as often as I would like. But doing these streams makes me feel like I'm able to kind of bridge the gap there. So I wanted to bestow some wisdom for those of you who are looking to make your home. This could be a rental, this could be a home that you own, how to make it look more expensive without spending a lot of money doing it. And honestly, that is something that I believe so strongly in. I know that there are a lot of designer pieces out there. There's a lot of designer decor, and there are a lot of people with large budgets that are doing home renovations. And that's why I believe so strongly in this, because you really don't. It just takes some creativity. It just takes some ingenuity. It just takes some resourcefulness to be able to make your home look beautiful, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. So one of my tips for this is flowers or plants, adding nature. Nature definitely levels up your space and makes it look more expensive because, I don't know, adding that element of nature adds that level of calm, sophistication. And that's something that I've been working on implementing more of as I have, I guess, delved deeper into the design space. My light turned off. Hold on one second. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry about that. It wouldn't be alive without technical difficulties, right? Okay, it's back. So adding those, they give off an organic feeling that can brighten up a space. And I feel like nature in and of itself just adds elegance and class, and it can add different aromas to a space. So if you have some really amazing flowers like peonies or roses, you get like a nice aromatic quality to it. So it's always a good one to try. With plants in general, though, I feel like nature just is a calming sensation. It's a calming presence, and I feel like it's very important to make sure you're bringing that into your space, whether that's fake or real. I believed for a very long time that I was the killer of plants. And now I actually believe otherwise because I found some plants that are a little more low maintenance, but are actually doing really well in my space. For example, like aloe vera, fiddle leaf plants, what are some other ones? There are a few other like kind of succulent-esque plants that I have in my home that are doing really well. They're like thriving. I started an herb garden, so that's also something that's been doing really well with cilantro, parsley, mint, things like that, so that it just adds some level of nature to my space. Tip number 2 is to hang your curtains up higher than your windows. So for some of you, you may be like, what? I don't understand. What are you saying? So if you have like regular, like maybe 8-foot tall ceilings, 8 or 9 feet tall, you may have a window that reaches up to about 6 feet. If you're raising the curtain rod that you're hanging higher than your window, it gives the look of the space being bigger, and it adds like a sense of elegance. It's kind of like how they stage hotel rooms. So if you want to add a little more depth and maybe height to your ceilings, if you want to make them look taller and you want to make your windows appear taller, then hang your curtain rods higher, which means you would probably have to get longer curtains for you to hang in your home. The next thing would be to paint your walls. Now, I realize that I'm going to get a lot of backlash because there are going to be people that are renters that are like, hey, my landlord told me I am not allowed to paint my walls. That is okay. That is perfectly fine. I always defer to whatever your landlord says. I've been very fortunate. A lot of the landlords that I've had have not cared what I've done to the walls as long as I restore it to the look that it was when I moved in, which is pretty much usually just stark white walls. So just as long as you can paint it back to a stark white wall, you should be fine. But if you want to err on the side of caution, I completely understand that. And that is where temporary wallpaper comes into play. Or you could do some sort of fun vinyl decal, which is also fun. But if you want to add like temporary wallpaper, it essentially is like having contact paper on your walls. It comes off really easily. It doesn't damage your walls whatsoever. After this live is up, I'm going to link to my bathroom makeover that I did back in 2018. That one I used temporary wallpaper. And when I moved from that place, removing the temporary wallpaper did absolutely no damage to the walls, but it did add a lot of fun color and texture to the space. And I felt like it was such a great change to make in that bathroom. And it really can do quite I don't know, it can do quite a transformation in any room, even if you just want to do an accent wall. But if you want to do all four walls, I will say temporary wallpaper can be quite pricey depending on where you're shopping for it. I know Spoonflower is one that's really popular. I like going to Amazon to buy a lot of my temporary wallpaper. And one other thing that you should definitely consider, if you have textured walls, temporary wallpaper probably is not the best choice for you. You want to make sure you either have like a drywall finish or just like a flat, non-textured surface. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to apply and it's probably not going to look really great. So just make sure you do that research prior to actually investing in the contact wallpaper. The next one is area rugs. Area rugs can do such a difference to a space. They can add some grounding. They can add some texture. I really love buying area rugs that are super inexpensive, especially as a renter. I've had a lot of success going to like places like TJ Maxx or Ross, if you can believe it. And I've been able to get like an 8x10 area rug for like $80, which is kind of unheard of. But the one I currently have in my current living room is from Ross. It was $80 and it has lasted us almost 2 years. I mean, we're probably going to bring it with us to our next home that we move to. So I highly recommend being resourceful in that regard. Sometimes you can also find some really good deals at places like Goodwill. Different thrift stores will take area rugs and you can get some perfectly good area rugs. I mean, always make sure you're inspecting them to make sure there are no like bed bugs or things like that. You want to make sure you're being extra cautious with that. So if you want to bring a flashlight with you to make sure that you can inspect anything before you bring it into your home, I recommend that. The next thing I was going to say would be places like, I think it's Rugs USA. That's another company I've purchased area rugs from, and I've been able to find really large area rugs for like $100, $120, $150. But you can also find some on Amazon. So just do a little bit of research, figure out the colors that you want, and don't make an emotional, impulsive decision on the rug that you get. I would shop around a little bit before you pull the trigger. But area rugs really can transform a space and make it look homier. It can give it some patterns, some fun, bright colors, especially if you're not allowed to paint your walls and you don't want to play with contact paper. You can add some color to your space by adding a pop of color with an area rug. The next thing would be custom window shades. Now, I've been very fortunate. Like I said, I've had landlords that have known what I do, and they're very excited at the possibility of their home being upgraded, especially when I have sponsored campaigns. So I was able with Levelor, I believe. Levelor was the name of the company. It was a few years ago. My apartment in Mar Vista, California the landlords were super chill about me installing a Moen kitchen faucet. And then I was able to actually install some custom shades, some custom blinds in my bedroom. And they were 100% okay with it. Obviously, I'm upgrading their space. So they didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to pay for it. It was sponsored. So it was a win-win for everyone. But I would definitely make sure that you are checking in with your landlord prior to actually pulling the trigger on this. But if you are able to add custom shades to your windows, it will give them more elegance instead of like horizontal blinds or vertical blinds. If you're a renter, you know what I'm talking about. They are the worst and they are not pretty. You pretty much just want to cover them up. But if you can get some like plantation blinds or some custom shades, that is a great way to up level your decor. The next thing would be switching out your lampshades. If you can believe it, switching out your lampshades is a very easy, inexpensive way to up level your space. It's cute, it's easy. So if you have like kind of more traditional lampshades and you want to upgrade to something a little more modern, it literally is a matter of either going to Home Depot or going to Home Goods or Ross or TJ Maxx or Amazon to find some more modern shades to give your table lamps or even your ceiling lamps a bit of an upgrade. The next thing would be to create vignettes. So you don't want to have too much clutter in your space. So you want something that's pretty clutter free, something that isn't going to look super crowded. So I would do an inventory of the items that you have available to you. And I always think in terms of three. So if you can play with levels, if you can play with different types of decor, just think you want to create like patterns of three, whether it's a tall, medium, and small thing together. But that's a great way to add some class to give it kind of a staged look. If you think of like homes you see on Zillow or Redfin that are being staged to sell, you'll notice that there's like little pieces of decor, and typically they're staged in odd numbers, 3, 5, 7. You don't want it to look super crowded, so that's why I always lean towards less is more. But that's a great way to add some stage capabilities to your space. Next thing would be to use matching containers for your storage. So no matter if it's storage in your pantry, in your kitchen, in your closet, make sure it looks uniform. So if you decide to commit to a specific color for storage containers, make sure that is the only color you use. If you decide to go with clear, perhaps adding some labels to it would be helpful, but something to give it a uniform look. That is always a great tip. Then also replacing old hardware. So this is one I use in every rental that I am residing in, especially if it's older, which when I lived in Los Angeles, a lot of the places that I lived in were a lot older. So making sure that you find the correct type of hardware and you just switch out your kitchen cabinets, switch out your bathroom cabinets, and just different like cabinets, furniture pulls, things like that, and you give them a more modern look to them. So it's always a really easy and inexpensive way to upgrade your place. The last thing, or not the last thing, but another option would be to use your vertical space wisely. So one thing that I feel like a lot of people forget about is utilizing their wall space. So for me in my current place, we have like 12, 14-foot ceilings. So we have a lot of vertical space. So floating shelves, using the vertical space in our closets has been essential for extra storage, so that our place doesn't look too cluttered. So making sure to use floating shelves, bookcases, things like that, where it's actually utilizing that space floor to ceiling versus buying more furniture pieces for storage, because that's just going to take up a bigger footprint. So just making sure that you're thinking strategically on how you're going to utilize that space. The next thing are peel and stick upgrades. So one thing that I've used in the past are peel and stick upgrades for kitchen counters, bathroom cabinets, backsplashes. There are so many renter-friendly backsplash options now. So if you have an old dated tile that you want to cover up, you can easily cover it up and give it a modern finish. You can find these at like Home Depot, at Lowe's, I think I've even seen them at Ross, which is crazy. And then Amazon, things like that. So, and then also places like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, any sort of craft store you have access to. The next thing is to use a curtain rod to create a canopy bed. So if you want some real elegance in your space, create a canopy bed. So all you have to do is hang a curtain rod from your ceiling, and then you can take either a sheer fabric, or you can take an opaque fabric, something that looks very luxe. And you'll hang it from the top of your headboard, and then perhaps up to the ceiling, and then through the curtain rod, and then you can drape it down, so it kind of gives the look of it being a canopy bed. I am going to link to my blog post that is probably my number one top performing blog post on how to make your home look more expensive, so you can see an actual example of this. So stay tuned for that. Once this video is live on my channel, I will include that link. And then also making sure to, play around with paint. So if you do have the ability to paint your walls, then perhaps playing around with like specific geometric shapes, or perhaps painting half your wall. Give it some dimension, give it some personality, give it a different look, so it doesn't just like a stark plain accent wall. You could really change up the look of a room by painting just like half dark, half light, depending on what color scheme you have going on in your space. And the last tip I have is to add textile art to your walls. Now, I'm a big fan of like dream catchers, but like macrame, any sort of fun textured pattern that you can find. I actually have a whole blog post about textile art. I'll link it below so you can check that out if you're interested, but as a way to like give it kind of a bohemian look, but also a really cool, elegant look. I think that that's a really fun way to play, especially if you're a renter and you can't paint your walls. Anyways, so those are my tips for you today. I hope you found this helpful. I can't believe I've been talking now for almost 17 minutes. I feel like I could talk to you all for days, but I hope that you found this valuable. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be on the lookout for the links to those blog posts in the description, and I will talk to you all hopefully next Sunday. Start marking your calendars, because this is my goal, is to most Sundays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time to be hopping on here to answer any questions you have and to share any designed DIY knowledge I have. So if there's something you want to hear more about, please let me know in the comments. I would love to be able to cultivate a whole series around things that you're interested in learning more about. All right, I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Stay classy. Bye.